Folks, today I'm going to talk about FAANG stocks, and I'm going to explain to you what has been going on with them recently, why you need to pay attention to them, and certain factors that may influence whether they go higher or lower or stay sideways in the next 6 months. Now, typically, and over the last couple of years, the large cap tech stocks have been leading. You've got Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, and now NVIDIA is a FAANG stock too because of its market capitalization. And if you looked at these stocks, throughout the entire Trump administration, they were leading higher and higher and higher. I mean, Apple, Amazon, Apple became the biggest company in the world during that period of time. But something started happening to them around September 2nd. The stock market, the broader stock market, made an all-time high, and the FAANG stocks, or at least majority of the FAANG stocks, stopped moving higher. They actually started bucking the trend. And I didn't know whether that was because they were anticipating Biden taking office or because the stock market rally was coming to an end or what, but this was the first time in many, many years that we saw this happening. And when we saw the stock market, the broader stock market, the S&P 500 go higher and higher and higher, and stocks like Apple and Amazon couldn't follow along, I started getting very, very worried. So I kind of want to show you where these stocks are right now and show you which one's leading, which ones are not leading, where the panic is, and if you should be worried, and what's to come for these stocks and where you should be. So again, there's been a lot of talk about FAANG stocks. We're in earnings season right now, so I wanted to give you a good little update. So first, let's start with, and I alphabetized these by FAANG: Facebook, Amazon, Apple, NVIDIA, Netflix, Google. So the FAANG list is here. So this is the first one. Notice September 2nd, that period around August. It doesn't have to be September 2nd. Sometimes it happened August 31st, sometimes it happened, but basically the week of September 2nd, these stocks all peaked out. So as you could see here, the stock, I'll just increase the chart so you could see it here. But look at Facebook, and remember, when Democrats take control of the White House and both houses, they have a tendency to break up companies, and large cap tech stocks are the first to get hurt. So that could have been the biggest reason why this happened. So again, if you look at Facebook, you'll see the stock is rallying. And then come, let's see here, August 26th, around August 26th, or the week of September 2nd. Let's see here. That's September 2nd right here, actually. I think it tested that high. Yeah, right here, September 2nd. Notice the stock stopped moving higher. But if you look at the S&P 500, it continued moving higher. So this was a big, big red flag. And even now, Facebook is still lagging behind. And there's been a lot of talk about breakups in Facebook. There's been a lot of censorship type of issues with Facebook. So Facebook is going through some stuff right now. So you may want to stay away from Facebook because the market's making new all-time highs, but Facebook is bucking the trend. If you look at Amazon, let's take a look at Amazon. Similar situation. Folks, for the last 4 years, up to about September, Amazon was leading the charts. Amazon could do no wrong, but since that time, let's look at the date here. Look at the date, September 2nd. It peaked out. No higher highs, and now it's lagging behind. Why? While the NASDAQ 100, and this is one of the biggest companies in the NASDAQ 100, and the S&P 500, and the Russell, and the Dow are all trading near all-time highs, this stock peaked out on September 2nd. Another big company, another company subject to being broken up or being taxed at a different bracket. The bottom line is Democratic government, Democratic president, and large cap tech stocks, they don't go together. So both Facebook and Amazon have been lagging behind and still to this day are lagging behind. Now, if you look at Apple, you will see Apple has turned around. But I want you to see something. That's September, the week of September 2nd. Look at how long it took. Almost, look at that. October, November, December. Almost, let's see, 3 months for this to happen. And it's just now barely above that level. So yeah, Apple is moving higher. Apple is bucking that FAANG peak September 2nd trend. But again, only by a small margin. Again, and it took several months to happen. And remember, Apple and Amazon were the fastest growing stocks. Now, NVIDIA, same thing. Look at the date here. So here's the September 2nd. It went just a hair higher, but it did it in November. And then since then, it's been lagging behind. So I would put it in the same category. And folks, NVIDIA was one of the fastest growing stocks in history. The company moved from making chips for graphic processors to making processors for the cloud. And the cloud became the biggest or the best performing tech sector during that pandemic, the COVID pandemic that we saw in 2020. So the stock was in the right place at the right time. But since that September 2nd or November, it has bucked the trend. It has stopped moving ahead of the S&P and the NASDAQ. It is now lagging instead of leading. So out of these four stocks that we've talked about, the only one that's leading is Apple, and only by a small margin. Now let's look at Netflix. Netflix had some positive numbers, but notice that September period peaked. Only now it peaked out. So it is looking better. It's shrugging it off along with Apple. But again, I would be very, very cautious because Netflix has some really strong numbers to overcome to keep this momentum going higher. And they have a lot of competition right now with Disney Plus and Apple TV, which I just subscribed to last week, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm talking about Apple TV. But the bottom line is you got to be cautious because this stock was continuously outperforming along with the other FAANG stocks, both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. And it's only now, only just the last few days because of earnings, made this surprise high. But again, I would be very cautious. Now, my favorite stock and the stock that completely bucked the trend is Google. Google made a high in September 2nd, sold off, and then continued moving higher, just like the rest of the market. Notice this trend here, and notice SPY. And you will see that they're looking, SPY is the S&P 500, and you will see that they're moving very much in line as opposed to the divergence. You will see here. See that? Sells off and boom, just like it. So the S&P moved higher. Facebook, Amazon, NVIDIA, not so good. Google did. So let me summarize this for you. FAANG stocks stopped outperforming the market as late as or as early as September 2nd. And some of them are doing a little better. Some of them, or most of them, are still on the sidelines. And that's a big red flag because large cap tech tends to move the market or lead the market higher. Now, with Biden taking office, small caps have been outperforming. The Russell 2000, as I predicted, has been largely outperforming the market. And I believe that'll continue for quite some time because all the juicy solar energy stocks, the lithium stocks, the smaller biotech stocks, they're all in the Russell 2000. So you may want to switch your focus to the Russell 2000 and away from the NASDAQ 100, at least till we see the NASDAQ 100 outperform. But here's the problem. These FAANG stocks, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stocks here, but these 6 stocks have about 80% of the market capitalization in the NASDAQ 100. So until I see them leading again, I would say stay away from the FAANG stocks and start looking at mid-cap and Russell 2000 stocks. And if you are going to focus on FAANG stocks, the only 2 that I could recommend in good faith would be, or 3 that I could recommend, would be Google, Netflix, and Apple. And I'm still, Netflix, I'm still a little cautious about. But as far as Facebook, Amazon, and Netflix for the most part, and NVIDIA, I would probably stay away. I would honestly, in my opinion, the only one I would focus on right now would be Google because it seems to have completely bucked the trend, and to a smaller degree, Apple. The other ones, be very, very, very cautious. Netflix may be a good one, but we got to give it a little chance to see how it goes moving forward because it can get stuck back in that territory. And I hope that helped you navigate through the FAANG stocks in 2021. Folks, there's a lot going on in our country right now. The attack on the U.S. Capitol building the other week made it perfectly clear. Meanwhile, unemployment numbers are still high and COVID-19 continues to ravage many parts of the nation. It's enough to make any investor nervous. So, I'd like to help you through these uncertain times by giving you a trading strategy that works regardless of which direction the market's headed to. Considering the current political, social, and economic climate, it couldn't come at a better time. All you've got to do is click the link below to learn how you can add this strategy to your trading arsenal today.